So, okay, perfect. So,
You're in.
I'm going to do this.
Good evening, everyone. If you could quickly sign in and go ahead and take a seat, we're going to get started in about 2 minutes. Please quickly come in, sign in, and take a seat. Also, just FYI, right here we have a very precariously set up webcam. So, if you could maybe steer clear of the camera in the middle, that would be great. Thanks. Let's hold them out with an open prayer.
I got to go.
We're going to get started in about 1 minute, so if you just come in and go and take your seats, please.
If you have question cards, bring them over to me, please.
Vanessa. You know what you're doing. Hey.
We're not doing it until the last 15 minutes. Yeah.
If we have them.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here. Appreciate your time tonight coming out to this event. My name is Anthony Clucci, and I'm proud to serve as the president of the Brevard Federation of Teachers. Those of you who are actively involved in this work, you already know that making change in a district as large as ours is never easy. It takes persistence, collaboration, and real commitment to our students and educators. And the truth is that becomes even harder when those in positions of power choose not to support you, or worse, actively work against you. This district seat 5 is open, and it is a huge opportunity for our community. I remember nearly a decade ago, our current school board member for District 5, Katie Campbell, in a forum just like this, and she made it clear that she was not going to be supportive of our teachers. And to her credit, she's kept her word. This district has been an unfavorable vote for the Brevard Federation of Teachers at almost every turn for the last 8 years. The reality is her election had real consequences in our schools. Tonight is an opportunity to turn the page and move in a different direction. There are 3 candidates in this race. 2 are here with us tonight, and both are members of our union. I want to thank stepping up to run. This is a huge undertaking, and it takes real commitment and courage to put yourself forward to serve this community. The third candidate had another engagement. I'll just say this. It's hard to imagine anything more important than showing up to hear directly from educators that you're asking to represent. The decisions made by this board affect every classroom, every teacher, and every student. So tonight, listen closely, ask thoughtful questions, stay engaged. Because if we want change, we must win where it matters most, and this is where it starts. Thank you, and let's begin.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome. My name is Vanessa Sticker. I'm the Vice President of Brevard Federation of Teachers. This is my 20th year in Brevard Public Schools, and we're grateful that you joined us tonight for this important conversation about the future of our schools. You heard Anthony talk a little bit about District 5. This is a wide open race and a lot of potential. So we hope that the people who showed up today will also be showing up to door knock and get another teacher, an in the classroom teacher on that school board. Before we begin, I'd like to walk through a few guidelines that will help us maintain a thoughtful and productive forum. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to respond to each question. If a candidate goes over their allotted time, the extra time will be subtracted from their next response window. To help with pacing, candidates will receive both a 1 minute and 15-second reminder before time expires. So Cecilia and Michelle, Anthony will have the 1 minute first and then the 15-second. We did comment that I animated them, and of course I did teacher. We love our animating machine. This is a subject-focused discussion, and in the spirit of professionalism and respect, candidates are not asked to, you guys, maybe, we're not going to do it as Robert right now, right? Okay. Yeah. I'm looking at my got 2 teachers up here. I'm like, what? This is what I read in the last one. All right. So this helps us. We want to keep focus on ideas, solutions, and the needs of our students and staff. To ensure fairness, the opportunity to respond will alternate. So basically, if I start with Ms. Potter, then the next question will go to Ms. Moore. All right. Audience. So you guys should have all gotten a handout when you came in the door about our guidelines. As classroom teachers, we love some norms for our room. So those are our norms. If you haven't taken the opportunity to read them, I'm going to give you a quick notes of them. Thank you for being here. Thank you for caring about public education. Your presence reflects the strength of our community. We ask that you help us maintain a calm and respectful environment so that every candidate can be heard clearly. We're also live streaming this on our YouTube, so be careful around the podium, but also the side conversations will really interfere with our camera's ability to pick this up. Please take a moment to silence your cell phones and electronic devices. And it should go without saying, but if you gotta take a call, the hall's that way. Call. All right? We ask that you refrain from applause, cheering, or verbal reactions. This helps us keep the focus on the content of the responses and ensures that all candidates have an equal opportunity to speak. Of course, you are welcome to applaud at the end of the event. If you'd like to submit a question, please use the index card provided. The index cards will go to Anthony first. We encourage questions that are issue-based and reflect the needs and experiences of our students, families, and educators. Cards will be collected throughout the evening. Because of time limitations and questions that we may have already handled, we will not be able to use every question. Campaign signs, you guys already know that. You got that. Photography and recording are welcome as long as they don't interfere with the event or block the view of others. Thank you for helping us create a space rooted in respect, curiosity, and a shared commitment to our schools. With that, we will begin tonight's forum. All right, so we will start with Ms. Potter. Will you please introduce yourself? Sorry, I should have introduced yourself, share your why for running, and what experiences or qualities do you believe prepare you for this role?
Good evening, my name is Cecilia Trotter. I have been teaching for almost 2 decades. I taught in South Florida, and then I moved up here in 2018, and I've been with Discovery Elementary since 2020. I decided to run because last year I had a beautiful baby grandson, and I am very passionate about public education. And I could have just sailed into my retirement, but I decided that my grandson deserves public education. My 2 daughters graduated from public high schools, and they're doing amazing in their lives, and I really believe in it. So that is my why behind running. What makes me a great candidate is I'm not a politician. I've been a classroom teacher. My heart is with these children. My heart is with my staff, the staff that we work with. My heart is with our families. We know what it is getting up every day, going to work, and providing for our families. So that is why I'm a great candidate for this, because I do it every single day as well. And I have a respect for teachers and for anybody who decides to work with kids. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Michelle McCormick, and I'm a teacher for the deaf and hard of hearing at Medellin Primary. I've been there for 11 years. I started my teaching career in Brevard. Actually went to Southwest Junior Middle School, but it was brand new, so I was the first class to go through there. So yes, I have deep roots in Brevard, and I went to Palm Bay High and there. But I did start my teaching career at McCall. I did my internship in Columbia. Was my first job in Jupiter. It was my first home for a while. I was a Proud Eagle. So I have 2 children. They're both products of Brevard Public Schools, Go Bulldogs. And my husband Mike and I met at Sears over 35 years ago at our first job, Sears and Homer. So this community, I've grown up here. I love it here. My why is frustration. I've been frustrated about the way our teachers have been treated. I've been frustrated about the neglect in our public schools that have continued to happen over and over. And I thought I could change it. So back a few years ago, I joined the BFT, and I was like, this is my chance. I'm going to be active. Joined the EP board, went to Tallahassee, I've been to legislative sessions, I've called legislators, every legislative meeting, every legislative session for the past 3 years. I've sit on a Zoom with Florida teachers all across the state, advocating and making phone calls and figuring out how this legislation coming down or being developed is going to impact our public schools. And it's not working. What I'm doing is not working. So I've kind of reached the point where this is it. I'm going to give everything I have. Our schools are worth it, our students are worth it, our teachers are worth it, and we've got to do it together. That's my why.
All right, so Michelle, you're gonna keep the mic.
All right.
Michelle, Cecilia.
Michelle's fine.
All right, thank you. Okay, so, and if either of you, when you sit back and forth, if you want me to repeat the question, just let me know. All right, so, the next question is, what do you believe is the most pressing issue facing Brevard Public Schools right now, and why?
I think the budget is one of the biggest pressing issues in our schools. We're losing funds. I feel like we don't really have great oversight on our public spending in schools. I can't find that online readily. It should be readily available. I don't understand why some schools seem to be thriving and other schools don't. I'm very concerned about being able to offer programs for our students, especially programs that I know Mr. Brown runs CET programs at Heritage, and the RTC program Colonel Athey is running in Mile High. Those programs are important, but I'm scared that we're going to lose them. When I went to Dade County, when I was there, they got rid of activity teachers because the budget was so bad. So that's something that I'm very concerned with, and I'm watching that legislation and what comes down to Tallahassee, and that's guiding our schools. And I'm worried about that. That's what I'm worried about. That's what I think our biggest problem is, and making sure that we can keep our students and get our students back.
All right, so the question was, what do you believe is the most pressing issue facing Brevard Public Schools right now, and why?
So I agree with Michelle. Our biggest problem is the amount of money that's being siphoned away from our public schools. We know last year that Florida spent $5 billion on vouchers. And we know that in I believe it was like before 2023, only $1 billion was spent on scholarship programs like the McKay and the Gardner. Once they enacted the Florida Empowerment Scholarship, the budget for scholarships went up to $5 billion. Even Senator Gates, who pushed for this, is very upset about how there's been no accountability and transparency in where the money's going. Any given last year at any given day, they could not locate 30,000 students in Florida. Had no idea what school they were at, what they were doing. So that is a big concern. And we know that we had a shortfall of $400 million that was unaccounted for of our taxpayer money. So we know that that's a big problem. We have a budget of $1.6 billion, and our superintendent is not hiring a CFO. A CFO is needed to be the person who is who's going to be held accountable for our funding. So that for me is a red flag right there.
All right, so this next question, did we start with you? Yeah, you guys keep in mind.
Yeah.
All right, so like many districts across Florida, Brevard Public Schools faces a severe teacher and support staff shortage. Florida ranks 50th in average teacher pay, and Brevard teachers earn $2,500 below the state average. How would you identify funding to address this disparity?
Well, 4 years ago, the people of Brevard spoke, and they believed in their teachers, so they voted in that millage. And that meant something to us, because 80% of that millage goes to teacher compensation. So I know where the heart of the people of Brevard are. Anybody I've been talking to during my campaigning, they are so thankful for the service of teachers and the fact that we go out there and we spend the time with our kids, because they know what type of hostile environment we are working in right now. So right now, we really need that millage, and I think that is going to be an important factor for our payment. But I think we also need to start cutting all the top heavy jobs up on the administration. There's a lot of waste going up there, and we need to figure it out and work it out.
All right, same question to you, Michelle. Like many districts across Florida, Brevard Public Schools faces a severe teacher and support staff shortage. Florida ranks 50th in average teacher pay, and Brevard teachers earn $2,500 below the state average. How would you identify funding to address this disparity?
Right, and it's a big problem. If you think about it, we have 67 districts, public school districts in Florida, and we learned at the forum that BFD hosted that 44 districts have to find additional revenue sources to fund education. Now, when you have 65% in public, 65% of your public schools hurting for funds, that's a failure on the state. And that's 100%, I believe that 100%. So, but what are we gonna be able to do? Thankfully, Brevard came together, just like Ms. Trotter said, and we have millage. We have to push for that renewal. That renewal doesn't just help for teachers, it helps our paraprofessionals who are making below the poverty line. It goes to our bus drivers who are struggling. It supports more professionals than just teachers, and we need everyone in our schools we need everyone to be supportive of millage. So I hope that everybody hears the millage. Yes, good thoughts, I love that. All right, thank you so much.
All right, Michelle, you're gonna keep the mic. And you guys are obviously both current classroom teachers, so in what specific ways do you believe the school board could better support teachers and staff?
I believe they need to be listening a little bit more. That's my thing. I think they need to be listening and coming to visit, not just take pictures. I would like them to come in, and I would like them to sub. They should sub one day a week, one time a month. I would love for that. They need to see, they need to be engaged with the students, and they need to know exactly what those classrooms look like, because I don't believe they have. Most of us know if you haven't been teaching the last 10 years, it doesn't look like even the past 5, I would say, it doesn't look like it did when I first started teaching. When I first started teaching, you worried about rules, relationships, responsibilities, and routines. That's not the classrooms that we have, as you all know. Now we've got to do crisis management, and we're trauma teachers, and we're dealing with so many things, and I don't think that the school board's listening to when we say, look, there's not enough time in the pacing guide to address all of our needs. That just falls, it doesn't do anything. They need to be hearing what we're going through and help us find solutions. I'm all about difficult conversations. I think that if you have difficult conversations, the best things are often developed from those difficult conversations, because usually it's something that neither two parties could have ever come up with on their own. And that's what we need to be doing, but they need to be engaging with us.
Okay, so in what specific ways do you believe the school board can better support teachers and staff?
Well, that's the problem, is that we don't have any teachers on the school board. So we have, they need to know what we are going through on a daily basis. And for them to just stand up there or sit up there and not really address the concerns of the teachers, administration, it is a problem. Like Michelle said, having those difficult conversations is very important, because we're never going to see eye to eye on certain things. They have a job, we have a job, but it is through those difficult conversations that we can find a common point. And we have to brainstorm together, because at the end of the day, their job depends on us. So we have to work together, and we have to find a way to get through these solutions. And again, having an educator on the board is going to be a very important step in the right direction.
All right, the next question, we'll start with you again, Cecilia. What role should the teachers union and other employee unions play in this district?
Well, I'm a big believer in the teacher union. We need to have that help in order to really guide us where we want to be with the board. I was kind of confused when I first started attending school board meetings, why there seemed like to be animosity between the school board and the teacher union, because I figured we're all on the right side of things. We're all here for the students, we're all here for the families, but it's not that way. And again, I really think that the school board needs to work with the teacher union, because we are the blood, the heart of every school. And if the school board is not working with us, then they must be working against us. So we really need to have some difficult conversations. And again, I'm sure they're not going to see eye to eye on everything, but we do need to have the support of the school board as well with the teacher union.
Same question to you, Michelle. What role should the teachers union and other employee unions play in this district?
I'm a big believer in the preparation of teachers. I've been an active member for years. I've been on the e-board for 6 years now, almost 6 years. I believe that our 1010 union needs to be heard as well. I think that's something that I was going to do right before I decided to run and stepped away from the executive board, was develop a Brevard legislative leadership team within our schools for our teachers to be part of, so they can actually work on advocating for our schools at the state level and the local level. I think that we need to do that and make sure that our teachers are having those conversations and starting those conversations. And I think if we had a group of teachers that were our legislative leaders, then I think maybe we could maybe move things for, and we're the 49th largest school district in the world, and I don't think, not the world, but, in the United States, but they can't really ignore us if we're being a little louder. And I think that's what we're gonna have to do. We're gonna have to get a little bit louder.
All right, Michelle, as a board member, you will help manage $1 billion budget. Are there areas you believe are currently problematic, and how would you redirect funds to better serve students and staff?
Yes, like what Ms. Trotter said too, I feel that when we're looking at student funding, I feel like we should start with the classroom and then work out. I think right now it works from the top to the bottom, and that's not going to support our schools. Look what's happening. So I think that when we look at that budget, it needs to go from the classroom, and then whatever's left goes up. But it needs to start there.
Yes. As a board member, you will help manage a $1 billion budget. Are there areas you believe are currently problematic, and how would you redirect funds to better serve students and staff?
Absolutely. I just think, again, there is a lot of, it's top heavy. And we need to really look at those different positions that they claim are very important. I don't know how, and it's really hard to find all the different job titles, what they're making. It takes a lot of time to look through that. So I think there needs to be some more transparency on that. You know, how many curriculum coaches are there? How many do we need? So there is, that is where that needs to start, is from the top. And then, like Michelle was saying, you know, we need to move it from the classroom. Every classroom needs to have certain things, and we need to make sure that they're being met.
All right, we will start with you again. Following the tragedy at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School, Florida implemented major school safety and mental health initiatives. How do you assess Brevard's progress in these areas? And as a board member, what actions will you take to strengthen them?
Unfortunately, just in this short time that I've been here in Brevard, I've seen a big change where it comes to mental health issues. I reached out to our SRO and spoke with the chief of police of Palm Bay, and we were talking about safety in the school. Safety in the school is paramount, and as a parent and as a teacher who comes to school every day, I believe in safety. I do feel that we could do a better job involving and educating parents about what the safety looks like. I've heard from parents saying that they feel like they're almost like barred from the school, or that the schools look like prisons. So I think if we have a forum or try to educate our parents why do schools look like this, maybe they might be a little bit more understanding. Unfortunately, I was in Coconut Creek the year of the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas. I was actually at my school teaching an after-school program when we got the news. So it really hit close home to me. And I'm a very big believer in mental health in the schools. We need more counselors, we need more social workers, and we need more wraparound services, especially in the elementary schools, because we know as elementary teachers what kids are going to be problems. We know it. And so if we can help those parents right away at a younger age, then maybe we can make a difference in somebody's life.
Following the tragedy at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School, Florida implemented major school safety and mental health initiatives. How do you assess Brevard's progress in these areas? And as a board member, what actions will you take to strengthen them?
So I do like how we have more school counselors, and we have more social workers at our schools, and I think that's helpful. I think that putting mental health teaching on the shoulders of teachers is problematic. We're not mental health counselors, but we're asked to do those roles almost on the daily. So I think that's an issue. If we're getting trained in it, we need time to do it. And there's no time to do all of the things and teach when you're in that situation. I think that we have to really have that physical conversation and talk about what's working and what's not. I am concerned right now about success pathways. If you don't know about that, that's something in our discipline program where students are expelled and then they go out and then they come back after 360 days. My concern is, well, we're going to have kids coming back from success pathways to public school. Well, what supports are in place for them to be back? We cannot just wait and get this. Oh, collect 8 weeks of data and then we'll figure it out. And then when you collect 8 weeks of data, sorry, you collected 8 weeks of the wrong data, take 8 more weeks of data. That's not going to help. It doesn't help the classroom. That's not going to build a good learning environment if it's not going to support the student. So what are we doing? And we need to make sure that we're prepared to receive these students and give them the supports they need. Not wait until it's a problem in the classroom We have to stop being reactive. We need to be proactive in this district.
All right, seeing question, no.
No,
We're switching.
yeah.
Yeah, comments on things. All right, we're starting to get back to women. Since 2020, BPS has experienced a significant drop in student enrollment as families choose alternative education options. Do you believe it is the board's role to help attract families back to BPS? And if so, what would that look like?
I do believe that they should have a hand in it. They should be working to bring our students back. You know what? They should be asking why they left in the first place. They should be asking that question. Why haven't they? I've been door knocking, and you know what? I have learned a lot door knocking on people's doors. I have had so many conversations, and a couple of them have been, I'm homeschooling. Can I ask you why you're homeschooling? Well, my student, I felt like it was going too fast for them. Well, if the board was asking that question, or any board member was asking that question, maybe we could do something about that and not wait until the student's gone. So I feel like they should be engaging. We should be engaging with our communities and know what's happening with students and their families. I mean, that's what a board member should be, at least in my opinion.
Same question. Since 2020, BPS has experienced a significant drop in student enrollment as families choose alternative education options. Do you believe it is the board's role to help attract families back to BPS? And if so, what would that look like?
Absolutely. I think it's our goal to really, number one, promote our schools. We have some amazing schools here. We have some amazing programs, and that's our job, is to promote it. Why aren't we promoting it more? I don't know, maybe wrap around those buses, those yellow school buses, put some advertising on there. But we really need to promote our public schools up and all the great programs we have. We also need to find out why students are leaving. Is it because of bullying? Is it because the kids are forced to sit down in their seats for too long and they don't feel like they have enough movement? I know a lot of parents of young boys, that's one of the biggest complaints I hear as an elementary school teacher, is that my child just can't sit down. Well, they're 8 years old, they have a hard time sitting down. So I think that's also some things that we need to take into account on how are we setting up our classrooms, what are the expectations on some of these younger kids, especially in kindergarten. I don't have any kindergarten teachers here, but I take my hat off to you because let me tell you, the curriculum that they give kindergarten teachers now is really hefty. And listen, some students are ready for it, that's great, but some students aren't ready for it. So we have to be able to identify those students that really need that extra help. And I love the fact that most kindergarten classes, not everyone has an instructional assistant now. Nope, you're shaking your head now. Okay, well, they should. They really need an instructional assistant in kindergarten because those students really need. A lot of them don't come in prepared for school.
All right, so we will stay with you for the next question. How will you advocate for Brevard Public Schools with our state legislators to ensure the district's needs are heard and addressed?
That's another thing that confounds me is why our school board is not working with our elected officials to say that we need money for our schools. I mean, Brevard County Public Schools is, I believe, the second largest employer, or somebody says the first. But we have a lot of jobs depending on this funding. So if we're not working with our elected officials and bringing to them that, hey, every time these people gonna work, where are we gonna go? Is that what they for their county? Do they want a place where they don't have enough jobs for the people who live here? So it just confounded me that the school board is not working with our elected officials and really talking about the harm of the voucher system. So that would be my role I really would like to work with our elected officials to figure out what path can we take moving forward so we can support all of the jobs here in the district.
Same question. How will you advocate for Brevard Public Schools with state legislators to ensure the district's needs are heard and addressed?
So I've been doing this job for 6 years. I have been actively in Tallahassee at legislative session, testifying in front of committees, meeting with legislators. I've been every legislative session. I attending a Zoom every Tuesday night from 5:30 to 6:30, and with other teachers in the state of Florida. And we're looking at the legislation, and we're making phone calls, and we're emailing. And that's part of where I came back to my why. I've been doing this for so long, and nothing's working. So I don't know. This is my next step. I'm going to have to take you with me. I can't go by myself anymore. So it's going to be all of us. If I get in that seat, it's going to be all of us, and we're going to have to be loud, and we're going to have to go and make sure that people are actually listening. Because I've tried this on my own, trying to represent our teachers, and it hasn't worked, and it really affects me. That you go inside, you go to Tallahassee, and you think that you can make a difference, and some of the time they wouldn't even look at me when I'm sitting there. I had my at me when I'm standing there in front of them. Plus, because you're so, I have put you there, you don't care. So I have a real problem with that. That's what I think. I think we're just going to have to be, even no matter what side we're on, we can come together for these schools. And I think that that's what we're going to have to model, that we can do that.
All right, so we will take some audience questions. Anthony, you have some for me?
You're elected person.
I feel like the first one. I'm excited now. This is very close. Oh, I will like this. All right. So are we starting? I wasn't sure. Starting from shopping. Okay. Thanks for making me line. All right. My peers, the students of Brevard, value access to literary materials. What are your plans to make sure we won't have to worry about our school libraries being stripped of useful or important information we will need to take with us as we seek higher education?
Well, I'm a big believer in our literacy. I really am. And I do believe that, I think that we're going to have to work together to make sure that our students have access to all the things, all the literature that they need to help them grow and as people, right? That's how you see yourself in books and you're interested. You see a different person in a book and you're interested. It expands your mind. So we should be encouraging all the different types of literature in our schools and making sure that our students have that. Now, if there's something that I feel like the parents are going to have to be vocal about what they want in their schools, but that's a community. This is a public school. So we're really going to have to just work together on that to make sure that we are giving our students every opportunity and all the materials that they need, all the resources that they need. I'm a big proponent of making sure every student has everything they need.
Same question. My peers, the students of Brevard, value access to literary materials. What are your plans to ensure we won't have to worry about our school libraries being stripped of useful or important information we will need to take with us as we seek higher education?
Yes, I believe that, unfortunately, we have a governor who is not very supportive of every type of book in our libraries. But I do believe that we need to be a little bit more vocal, and we need to, as teachers, school board, students, and families, have those hard conversations. What books are missing? Why are they missing? Why were they taken away the first time? We really need to stand together on this, because it's only standing together that we can have a stronger front. When we strip books and material away from our libraries, we are hurting usually the lowest of the low, who don't have a possibility to go to the library, who don't have access to internet at home. So we really need to make sure that all students, we are talking about equitable and education for all. Well, this is an opportunity for us to bring it back to the high schools, especially where it's most needed.
All right, Cecilia, we'll stay with you for this next one. How do you plan to combat this attack on educators and restore trust in the profession?
Well, I believe being an educator myself, I bring a different perspective to the board, and yes, it absolutely needs to stop. We are not the enemy. We are people who come to work every day, where most of us take our job as a mission, because obviously it's not for the money. So when we come to work every day and we are there for students, we are there for families, then we have to control the narrative. And as an elected school board member, having that perspective as an educator will bring something different to what's going on, especially on the political scene. We need to take the politics out of our schools. Politics don't belong in schools, and they need to stop attacking us, because all we're doing is trying to make every student a strong student.
All right. That's the same question to you. How do you plan to combat this attack on educators and restore trust in professionals?
I think our school board members should be more present in our classrooms. They should be seeing what we do, and then talking about what they're seeing. I feel like they don't talk about all the good things that we do. I feel like it's just more, sorry to offend anybody, but I think it's more of a picture and a go. It's not, they're not there. I think if they were there and they were communicating that with the community of what they see and what's going on, I think that could maybe shine the light on all the positives that are happening in our schools. Who's learning what kind of gains? I mean, Bayside went up 10 percentage points in their high school graduation rate last year. Go Bears, right? Like, you have to find that in there. I didn't see that anywhere, but I think those are things that we need to be looking at too. All the things that are positive programs that are happening in our schools, and what we're doing every day in our schools to make it a better community for all of our students.
Right, Michelle, we'll stay with you for the next one. Brevard students have seen school board members chase short-term wins. What's the most important long-term change you believe BPS should focus on, and how would you put that plan into action?
That's a good question. Long-term, can you read it?
Sure.
Thanks.
Brevard students have seen school board members chase short-term wins. What's the most important long-term change you believe BPS should focus on, and how would you put that plan into action?
Long-term, we need to get more funding into our schools. That's what I think. Long-term. So that long-term is going to have to really be going into the state and making sure that, okay, the state knows that we're going to have more funds, and we need more funds, convincing them that we need more funds. Long-term, also more accountability. I know that when this Charter brought up the voucher program, and she was right, $270 million goes unreported because, according to Senator Gates, because they can't find it. They don't know. I think Brevard, what we really need to do is we need to make sure that we are tracking the data on where students are going. And when they come to private school, they come back to public school. We need that kind of data, because a lot of us see that we do have lost. We've lost students to private schools and charter schools, but we've also seen them come right back. And no one ever really talked about that. So I think that if you're tracking that data using the student number that we have in Brevard, I think that we would be more successful showing that, hey, look, we might have gotten this student, back from homeschool or private school, and look at how they're thriving now. I think that would be my long-term goal.
Same question. Brevard students have seen school board members chase short-term wins. What's the most important long-term change you believe BPS should focus on, and how would you put that plan into action?
It's a difficult question, but again, it's also with the budgeting. I think the budget, getting a grip on the budget is really important in the long term. We do need to make our schools more attractive, and we do need to keep the student enrollment where it is. There's also a lot of work we could do with, there's a lot of work we could also do with, I'm so sorry.
Could you repeat the question? The short term?
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
short
So
term.
they feel that the school board focuses on short-term wins. What's a long-term change you think that they should? focus on?
Again, just I would focus more than anything on the budget, just focus on that long term, getting those students back into our classrooms, getting, our schools, funded correctly, and, making sure that we're keeping those students in by promoting our schools, telling the great things that we do. Like Michelle said, there's so many times that we have students who leave, they either go to a private school or a charter school, and then 6 months later, they're back, and they are behind, because we know that there's not the same accountability in, most of those schools that we have in our public schools.
All right, we're gonna stay with you. As more ESC families feel pushed out of BPS, what do you plan to change to expand ESC services at the elementary and secondary levels?
Well, as ESC students are being pushed out, well, there's really not too many places they can go. Yes, they can try to get a scholarship, to go to, get some other services. But I really believe that our ESC programs are top notch. We have some amazing teachers, we have amazing programs, and again, we take that, data and we're held accountable for it. Right now at Discovery Elementary, for example, every week I meet with, our administration, our coaches. We talk about that data, how we are moving those subgroups. What are we doing to work with the ESC teachers, pushing in the classroom? So I really think, again, that's something that BPS needs to do, is really promote how well we are doing with that program and how students can really thrive.
As more ESC families feel pushed out of BPS, what do you plan to change to expand ESC services at the elementary and secondary levels?
So something that maybe you might not all know that happens at a BPS is that when a student from, let's maybe like, for instance, I'm gonna use Meadow Lake Primary. If a student is near in our Meadow Lake Primary zone and they are going to a private school and the family wants to get ESC services for that family, they can go to our school, and our ESC staff by law has to evaluate that child, right? Which is fine. But guess what? When we do that, guess which children they're not able to serve? The students that are in our classrooms. So then they're getting pulled in all directions. And then the student gets an IEP and goes to private school. And do you think that the IEP is being followed by that private school? No, it does not need to be followed by the private school. There is no accountability on that. So then we have that problem. So what we're doing is we're stressing out our ESC staff to the point where you feel like you're failing kids. And when you feel like you're failing children, you don't want to be in the profession. And that's where we're at. And we've got to stop that kind of thing. So.
Alright, we will stay with you, Michelle.
Oh, right.
Well,
I'm so sorry.
will you take a sip? You guys are doing great, by the way. All right, what would be in your 100-day plan if elected?
Oh, well, my first, I want to be in the schools. I want to get to know every school. I mean, I know so many people in the schools already, but I want to be in there. I want to see the culture. I want to be part of it, not a photo op. I want to be there and support them and figure out what the schools need. What are their needs? What are their community needs? What are their family needs? I want to show up and be at the school advisory council meetings. I want to be there at the first day of school and help welcome students into kindergarten. I want to be part of that because if I'm part of it, then I can help give them the services that they need or give them the support that they need and cheer them on along the way. I feel like, and then hopefully rally the community behind them as well. And that's what my first 100-day plan would be, including advocating at the state level too. And I can't give that up, but that's my first step.
All right, so